What is going on, friends? We are back for another exciting episode of Sinister Performance YouTube channel.
Ha! Gay!
What is going on, everybody? Today is I fucked it up. Fucked this up already. All right, what's going on, everyone? Today I thought I would make a video for you guys. Some of you guys are not familiar with no prep or how to set up a vehicle for no prep, or are interested in S10s, let's say. So I thought I would make this video for you guys today just to kind of go through the Sinister Shoptruck, which is behind me here on the hoist tonight. So I thought I'd take this opportunity, maybe go through how we built this truck, what we built, why we built it, maybe try to help you guys or people who are new to this sport trying to get into it, maybe give you some ideas. But if you haven't seen our truck before, we've been doing no prep now in multiple different designs with this truck. So as you can see, we've had this truck now for three or 4 years now. We bought the truck originally out of Pennsylvania. It was already a front side S10, so it had the cage in it. It had a 6-liter twin turbo setup, all around beautiful truck. When I bought it and saw it online, I was like, that's the truck I need. It reminded me of the truck I had when I was younger. Actually, the first truck I ever owned was an S10 Extreme. So it kind of brought me back to, as they say, your childhood. Not really. A lot of people had muscle cars as kids. I wasn't so blessed. I was more of a truck guy. So here it is, the Sinister Shoptruck. So let's get at it. This is a 2000 S10. It has a full stock frame front to back. We did convert the front of it to long travel, which we made a video about probably 2 years ago. But in the front here, we have Dinky Bobby's long travel kit. We had to cut the buckets out here, excuse my crap. We also welded in what I call sliders. These are actually just leaf springs cut in half. So the reason we have these is for wheelies. As you can see, this is the lowest point of the truck. When the A-arms are fully extended, this is the first thing that hits the ground. So you can see they've been used a couple of times. This is actually our second set of these sliders. So we welded a little T in here just to give a little more reinforcement, and those are what keeps the oil pan from getting wiped out and the transmission from getting wiped out. So we've also added some cheap chains for when we do front side stuff, so we can lock down the front suspension. Because of the long travel we have, sometimes the suspension's a little too long in the front, causes us to have a lot of wheelies issues. So we try to chain down the front. We got adjustable holes here for that. We also run a stock spindle with extended ball joint, which I actually just replaced because the ones we had before were getting wore out. Tubular arms, upper and lower, again from Nicky Bobby's kit. We do have a tube front end on this, so the stock frame was cut here. This was all welded in. We used to have a radiator and stuff in the front here, but we no longer have that. I added a remote oil filter up here, so it's easy to change. And we could run a bigger filter than we can normally on the LS stuff. So, speaking of that, that runs through here, and these are our remote oil filter lines. For braking in the front, we run a set of TBMs, front brakes, both sides, single piston. What else do we got under here? F-body oil pan. We had to notch the original frame and weld in this bar to give us more clearance for everything. That helps set the motor in. We have a manual steering rack, which we'll get to up top. And then as we work our way back here, we run a power glide, just your standard issue 180 power glide. We've got two dump valves, internal, external dump valves on this. Most of this unit is a cone. It's all got cone internals. I like the cone stuff. Don't mind the silicone and shit here. This poor thing's been through a lot. We've got a pressure sensor on it so we can monitor pressure. And then these lines run all the way back to our transmission cooler. So that's kind of the power plant deal. And then moving backwards to the back of the truck, big inline filter. We come back here, we do run the Mac brackets from back in the day. We run a CalTrack system. So this is kind of the suspension. We run monoleaf, standard stuff, monoleaf CalTrack. We did weld in these buckets years back to try to give us more adjustability out of the leaf spring. These allow us to lift the front of the leaf spring up as high as we want. I have not been able to experiment. As you can see from these two holes, these have never been used. I would like to do a little more testing. As you know, we are scientists. So I would like to do some more testing, possibly lift this leaf higher and see what it does. I just haven't had that opportunity yet. We've got a nice thick anti-roll bar. This, you may or may not know what this is. This is actually a standalone oiling system I designed. Ow. For the twin turbos, because now they're up in the bed. So we've got an oil pressure sensor here. So I know in case all of a sudden this oil pump takes a shit, we'll know, we'll lose pressure and it will basically shut off the engine or start freaking out up top. This is the cell that holds all the oil for the turbos. So it is a direct standalone, completely standalone system. So moving back further, we run a Aeromotive 10 gallon per minute because we only run E85. This is obviously your filter going up to your sump tank. So this is all hard mounted, welded to the frame. On the back here, again, we run TRS shocks in the rear. Jeff hooks us up with the AFCOs here. I've been happy with them. Plus your shock sensor, so you have your shock data. Couple pins here, which I was just working on to add a little bit of weight on the axle. Axle weight is different than weight in the bed because it doesn't require the suspension. This actually just puts weight directly on the tires at all times. We run a little bit of axle weight. I don't like to run a lot. I've tried a lot. Didn't seem to help and made the tires get all funky. So we just like to run a little bit of axle weight. This is a Ford Explorer 8.8. So nothing fancy, no fancy bracing, and that's probably why we break a lot of gears in this. I would like to upgrade this to a 9-inch. That'll be our next thing. But for now, we're stuck with the 8.8. So we run this Ford Explorer 8.8, nothing fancy. Strange yoke on it, good U-joints. Steel drive shaft, nice and strong. And that's pretty much it for the rear end on the truck. We run the strange brakes again in the rear, dual piston. I actually do have, I mean, it's been many years, so we're gonna replace the brake discs on it. And yeah, that's kind of the layout from underneath, what we've got going on. Obviously, we have a parachute as well for safety. This is an actual parachute. It's not just full of lead or some stupid thing. It's actually there for safety. Now, as for our turbo kit, we can start down here. Let me just lower the hoist and we'll get to taking a look at that. All right, so moving forward here in the wheel gap here, I can show you this first. We've got some custom made headers done by Southern Chassis Works. Our good buddy Mike Buis did an amazing job on these. Come up and over our long travel, run down the side, O2 sensor obviously, down underneath the truck, and then from there go up into the bed. So that's kind of how our exhaust runs on both sides. It seems to work quite well. It took us a little while in piping, what size to use, depending on the engine size. There was a lot involved with flow, and then you needed expansion joints like this. Little accordion here so that it wasn't just solid pipe, because solid pipe ends up breaking. So you need a little bit of flexibility, plus it makes it easier to get this all together once you're assembling it all. So we do run smart coils, Holley smart coils. This is an LS based engine. It is a dart block, but it's LS based. So everything is kind of LS based on this, and we can lower it down, take a look at that. All right, truck's down now. We can take a look at where my life savings have gone.
That's right, babe. I just bought this truck straight cash. And I got enough cigarettes to last me and my family for the rest of our lives. I'm rich, biatch!
Okay, so like I said, this is a dart block based LS motor. We've got a alternator down here, adjustable alternator. Because we run a 14-volt battery system, it charges at 16 volts, and when the truck's running, it maintains normally around 15.5 volts, but everything is stronger. The truck starts stronger, fuel pump runs better, everything electrical runs better. I know a lot of people go to 16-volt battery setup that charges at like 18. I was more comfortable running a 14-volt setup because I heard things about frying different electrical stuff if there's too much voltage and stuff like that. I could be mistaken, but 14-volt has done us very well. So I'm happy with the system we decided on, and it's been nothing but good to me. So can't complain about that. So we've got our catch can up here, which eventually I would like to put in the back. This is not an ideal place to have your catch can. My original thoughts behind this was when you're in the driver's seat, if something goes real bad, you can see out of the breathers here an excessive amount of smoke, liquid, it'll go up the windshield, it'll alert you that something has let go. Now, the other problem with that is it also drains right where your tires are, and probably not the best idea. So eventually we're gonna put a puke tank, as they call it. We'll take this tank, put it in the back of the truck. That way, if it overflows, it's gonna go behind the truck, not underneath the tires. So we've got truck set up for nitrous back from when the original motor had it, the 6-liter. I've just carried it on for years. So it's here, it's all hooked up. It sprays a nozzle under here. So if we want to use nitrous, it's always an option. Everything's hooked up on the truck. Just have to add a bottle, change jets, and we're good to go. Our radiator's in the back, so we have a manifold here in the front. This is our intercooler. Because we run an ice box in the back, we basically run ice water through this. Air charge comes through the cab, around here, into the inlet, through the ice water, which cools it right down and gives us a very nice cold air charge. Like I said, we got our smart coils relocated to each side because I didn't want anything up in this area. It is a manual brake booster we run. So I'll be honest, manual brakes suck. I wish this thing had power brakes. It would be a lot cooler if it did, but because of space and everything else, we run the manual brakes. So let's move on to the interior. All right, into the interior. As you can see, full interior, 2 seats, headliner, even the original S10 interior light, certified cage, nice and tight to the roof. We have an electronic backup mirror in here so we can see behind us. I'll show you the camera after that. Parachute handle to release the parachute. Shifter, obviously, all our control panels. We keep a draggy at all times plugged in so it stays charged. S95 dash. Over there we have our screen, Holley screen with all the vitals on it, and our bump box. We use a smooth stage controller. So as you can see, this is the pipe that runs to the back, our intake pipe from the turbos. We have our CO2 set up down here behind the seat, which, I mean, I've driven around a few times. We do a lot of cruises and stuff, so I like to take a passenger. So I tried to route everything so my passenger still has leg room in here, which they do. They can sit comfortably, we can go for drives. I mean, this truck is very true street capable, as you can hear. All steel, all glass. I mean, everything except the back Lexan window is all glass, all steel. There's no fiberglass outside of the takeoff hood. Fenders are metal, everything's metal. So you can imagine this thing weighs a ton. So now going to the back, this is where all the magic happens. So we originally started the truck with turbos on the front. Everything used to be in the front of the truck. Now we moved it all to the back. So in the back here, we've got both turbos, one on each side. Exhaust comes out of there, obviously. We've got a back pressure sensor down here. We've also got our radiator in the back mounted. Underneath is the tank we talked about earlier for our oiling system for the turbos. Like I said, it's a standalone oiling system, so this is a whole separate entity. I wanted to separate them from the engine because the oil stays cooler, If you get any debris from the motor or the turbos, it doesn't go through either or. So if anything breaks on the turbos, we know because we can tell by the oil. Same thing with the engine. It's not where you're gonna get cross-contamination of bearings from one thing or bearings from the other. So it makes life a lot simpler. Here we have a breather tank down here. This is for the turbos themselves. Because of the amount of heat they make, they build pressure, and the pressure has to go somewhere. So this is kind of like an overflow tank or a breather tank, as I call it. Down there is where you install your nitrous bottles, obviously. Nitrous line is here to hook that up when we have nitrous on the truck. We've got our ice tank here with a pump. That pumps the ice water back up to the front on the intercooler. As we talked about before, we've got our fuel cell in the back here. It's a 15-gallon fuel cell, so that we're able to go on street cruises or any kind of cruise really. 15 gallons can get you quite far with this truck actually. So I wanted to keep a bigger size tank. This was originally an actual street truck that somebody drove all the time.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So this cell was in there originally. It helps us with the no prep stuff for weight. So I keep it a 15-gallon cell, and then we fill it according to how much fuel we want to carry or how much weight we want to carry. We run a Titan 8 lithium battery, super light. More importantly, it's great for power. It's a strong battery, it's a light battery, it's an expensive battery, but I've been through a lot of the other XS Powerline batteries, and I really do like the lithium because it always maintains good power whenever you're using it. So that's pretty much the setup in the rear here. Like I said, it's twin turbo setup, fed from underneath, then goes out through the cab. Now to this new contraption that we just built in one of our last videos. If you want to check that out, we have a big wing video that's on our YouTube channel if you want to see exactly how we put this together and the theory behind it. Now this is still in its early stages, I would say. You see a lot of no prep guys are now getting into aerodynamics, wings, stuff like that. So I did a lot of research with this. We wanted to give it a shot because I think it can help our program, especially running backside. Because this truck is rear mount turbos, we normally have to put a lot of power in. It doesn't 60 as good as I'd liked it to, so we put a lot of power out back. The problem with putting power out back is there's normally not a lot of surface there to grab. So the purpose of this thing is to give us downforce on the back of the truck later in the run, because the faster you go, the more downforce this should supply. So what did we do and design this? We put adjustable rod ends here. I wanted to put electronic actuators, and I may still put electronic actuators. At the time, we had these left over from one of the anti-roll bars when we were making this. This is basically built out of junk we had, like a lot of no prep cars. So this just worked for its purpose right now. Eventually, I am going to put on those electronic actuators because I would like to be able to control this either via a switch or through the computer, more likely through the computer, so we can change the adjustability. Out back, we obviously have our parachute, and we have this little fella. That little guy is the backup camera that was in the cab, that electronic rear view. We can see back here, we can see in front of the truck. It records everything, so it's good for videos and everything else. Super cheap on Amazon. It's just a nice thing to have, especially when I'm by myself, or if the crew's still at the starting line and I'm trying to back the truck up, when you're belted in and with all this shit going on, it's very hard to see behind you. So look in the rear view, I got full 360 view there, so it's very helpful. So yeah, that kind of gives you a rundown of the shop truck. It's always a work in progress. We keep trying new things. I like to try new things, and I'm kind of a data junkie, so we put a lot of sensors on things. I like to see how things work. I like to see how things react with changes we make. I probably spend a little too much time on data, but it's interesting to me. I like to learn these things. I have a lot of good people that help me, but we normally have to figure out a lot of things ourselves. So we're always trying to learn new stuff, try new things, innovate, see what works, see what doesn't work, and things like that. And the only way we can do it is by putting it on and trying it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little preview of the shop truck. I just thought people might be interested on how I designed this and built this. I appreciate all the help I get from all my friends. I can't do this alone. Big shout out to Mike Buick, Southern Chassis Works, helped a lot with the fabrication and bringing my crazy ideas to light. He has been a huge help for me. All the other people who supported me through this craziness, it's been awesome. So I'm looking forward to doing some more racing with this truck and trying to get faster every year. That's kind of the goal. And if you need any information or anything, please leave a question in the comments. I'll try to answer all the questions as quickly as I can, and please like and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna keep bringing you cool stuff. We're doing a bunch of Trackhawk stuff. We're doing a bunch of stuff from the shop here. It's gonna be kind of a mix mash of everything going on, from racing to shop life to behind the scenes, but that's kind of what I wanted this channel to be, so that's kind of what it's gonna be. I mean, it's my channel, so we do what we want. And don't forget, every other Sunday, catch us live, Sunday Night Shit Show on YouTube. It's always a good time. We talk about local races, things going on in racing, and just chat with our friends. So if you're bored, every second Sunday. And until we see you the next time, guys, stay safe. We'll catch you on the next one.